ICE arrives at the jail 1 hour and 18 minutes later, and guess what? Mr. Hernandez is not there. They couldn't wait 1 hour and 18 minutes for a guy who assaulted one of your residents with a machete, choked a police officer, and then when in custody, assaulted corrections officers. That is sanctuary policy in a nutshell, and that is what your state supports, and so do these other governors. That is what is so wrong, why the American people hate this concept.
You're conflating what the state of New York does is I control state police and prisons. We have turned over 1,300 people.
So you disagree with it?
We turn over 1,300 people.
Did the sheriff make the wrong call?
Those are local policies that we would not have done in the state of New York.
Welcome back to Hot News Today, where we break down the moments in Washington that everyone else is too scared to talk about. And wow, that clip you just watched. That was Jim Jordan doing what Jim Jordan does best, cutting through scripted talking points and forcing real accountability. Governor Kathy Hochul came in with polished testimony, but Jordan brought the receipts. He showed the timeline, he showed the detainer, he showed the local refusal, and he showed the consequences. This wasn't politics. This was public safety, and Jim Jordan was the only one in that room treating it like it mattered. So today we're diving deeper into that exchange, what it reveals about sanctuary policies, and why the American people are fed up with excuses that put dangerous individuals back on the street. Before we jump in, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because here at Hot News Today, we bring you the stories that cut through the noise and tell the truth others don't want to say out loud. All right, let's get into it.
Governor Hochul, third paragraph, second sentence in your written testimony, you said New York State cooperates with U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement in criminal cases. Governor, who's Jesus Romero Hernandez?
Thank you. I want to reaffirm that we do cooperate in cases where...
That wasn't the question. I just read your statement. I can read your statement. Who is Jesus Romero Hernandez?
I don't have the details on every single person in a state of 20 million people.
I understand, but this guy's a citizen of Mexico, deported 7 times, came to your state, assaulted one of your residents with a machete, choked a police officer, then when he was in custody, assaulted a corrections officer. ICE finds out this guy is in your state's custody, and they send you a detainer. You're familiar with a detainer, right?
Yes, I am.
Notice of action, immigration detainer to Tompkins County Jail from Syracuse Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. Section 1, they check a couple boxes. The first one they check is a final order of removal against the alien has taken place. That means a court has said this guy needs to go. This machete-wielding, cop-choking, corrections officer assaulting guy needs to go. Then they also check another box and they say biometric confirmation of who this individual is, this alien's identity. So they got the right guy, and a court has said he needs to go. Any idea what Tompkins County Jail decided to do with that detainer order?
I will tell you this, the state of...
It's a specific question.
No,
what did Tompkins County do?
The descriptions you have put forth are absolutely chilling and disturbing and reprehensible to all of us. My job is to protect the people of New York.
Which is why I'm asking the question. What did Tompkins County do?
What I have responsibility for
I will tell you, since you're not going to answer.
Courts,
we cannot and will not hold Mr. Hernandez. Yeah. We can't keep the machete guy who had choked a police officer and assaulted a corrections officer. We can't keep him. In fact, we have the back and forth from Tompkins County and ICE on January 28th of this year, 8:56 p.m. Tompkins County tells ICE, we're not going to hold this guy. 7 minutes later, ICE responds back, we will be there to take custody this evening. 24 minutes later, Thompson County reiterates, we're not going to have him. We're not going to turn him over. 10:45. ICE arrives at the jail 1 hour and 18 minutes later, and guess what? Mr. Hernandez is not there. They couldn't wait 1 hour and 18 minutes for a guy who assaulted one of your residents with a machete, choked a police officer, and then when in custody, assaulted corrections officers. That is sanctuary policy in a nutshell, and that is what your state supports, and so do these other governors. That is what is so wrong, why the American people hate this concept.
You're conflating what the state of New York does is I control state police and prisons. We have turned over 1,300 people.
So you disagree with it?
We turn over 1,300 people. Did the sheriff make the wrong call? Those are local policies that we would not have done in the state of New York. State of New York, that is a local decision.
So you're saying the sheriff's wrong?
I would say this, if it happened in a state prison, we have already turned over 1,300 people.
Sheriff in Tompkins County, a Democrat or Republican, Governor
There
Hochul.
have been times, excuse me.
The sheriff in Tompkins County, a Democrat or Republican?
Excuse me. There have been times
I ask the questions, you give the answers.
I'm asking
Is he a Democrat or Republican?
For a second,
you know?
I'm asking for this moment to explain that I'm sometimes waiting for ICE to come pick up people. Is he a Democrat or Republican, and do you agree with the actions he took? He's a Democrat. Do you agree with the actions he took? How about that question? They are in conflict with what the state of New York would do.
Well, maybe they're scared. By the way, he is a Democrat sheriff. Maybe the county guys are a little scared because you said this. I'm quoting from, it looks like the New York Times. We all know you can trust them. This is last month, May 25th. You said we have some counties that are renegade counties and work with ICE. Maybe they're nervous of being called a renegade county by their governor. So the Democrat sheriff says, we're not going to keep the machete-wielding, cop-choking, corrections officer assaulting guy. We're not going to keep him here for you to get here. We can't even wait an hour and 18 minutes. Oh, you know what else was interesting in this case? You know what else was interesting? There was actually an arrest warrant from United States District Court, Northern District of New York, signed by Judge Wiley Danks, magistrate from Syracuse. There was an arrest warrant, and they still couldn't keep him.
The state of New York cooperates. We cooperate in removal of individuals who've served time. We respond to detention. You're confusing, and maybe there's a lesson in civics here that's necessary.
On the record right here, I got 12 seconds. Will you say on the record, was Tompkins County wrong in the actions they took on January 25th, 2025, when they wouldn't hold the guy for 1 hour and 18 minutes?
Those are not the policies that we would have in the state of New York. Those are not the policies we would have in a
Were they wrong? Should they have turned that guy over to ICE? It's a simple question, Governor.
That was a horrible situation. The person should not have been out there.
It's a horrible situation, but it's a yes or no question.
It is a response that this is a locality.
Do you agree or disagree?
In the state of New York, the person should have been held.
Yes or no?
The person should have been held, and in the state of New York, we would have turned him over. That is in conflict with what we would do as a state with respect to prison. And I want to know why ICE won't come and pick up the individuals who have served time in our state. I have cases where they have not even shown
up. Governor, a court order and a detainer for a guy who did the things Mr. Hernandez did, and Tompkins County can't hold him an hour and 18 minutes, and you won't say that's wrong?
Okay, now that we've watched the entire exchange, let's talk about what really happened here, because this wasn't some minor misunderstanding. This was Jim Jordan exposing a massive failure of leadership and a complete breakdown of public safety. First off, Jim Jordan asked one of the simplest questions you can ask a public official. Who is Jesus Romero Hernandez? And Governor Kathy Hochul couldn't answer. Fair enough, she might not know every individual case. But when Jim Jordan starts laying out the facts, a man deported 7 times, a man who assaulted a New York resident with a machete, a man who choked a police officer and then assaulted correctional officers in custody, that is not a small detail. That is not something a state leader should shrug off. And then Jim Jordan drops the bomb. ICE sent a detainer. ICE confirmed the identity. ICE had a court-ordered removal. ICE said, "We're coming to get him." And Tompkins County still released him, an hour and 18 minutes before ICE arrived. That is unbelievable. That is reckless. And Jim Jordan was absolutely right to hammer that point home. What made this even more revealing was Governor Kathy Hochul's response. Instead of saying, "Yes, that was wrong," she danced around it. She said the state cooperates. She said local policies differ. She said it wasn't her decision. But Jim Jordan wasn't asking for political gymnastics. He asked whether this specific case was handled correctly. And she would not say it plainly, even though the answer is obvious to everyone watching. Then Jim Jordan dropped another crucial detail. Tompkins County Sheriff, a Democrat, released a dangerous repeat offender while facing a governor who had publicly criticized counties for cooperating with ICE, calling them renegade counties. Think about the pressure that creates. Think about the message it sends. Think about what it tells law enforcement. Cooperating with ICE makes you a problem. Jim Jordan highlighted exactly how these mixed signals create chaos and put communities at risk. And then comes the kicker. The same individual, Jesus Romero Hernandez, has now been rearrested and is considered such a danger that he isn't even allowed out of his cell. Yet months earlier, Tompkins County couldn't wait an hour and 18 minutes to hand him over. This is the insanity Jim Jordan exposed. This is why people are angry. And this is why sanctuary policies fail in the real world, because they prioritize ideology over safety. Jim Jordan wasn't grandstanding. Jim Jordan was doing what voters expect, demanding accountability when government failures put innocent people in danger. And watching that interaction, it's clear. The excuses, the deflections, the political spin, none of it holds up when confronted with brutal facts. Jim Jordan showed it, line by line, timestamp by timestamp. This was one of the clearest examples of why congressional oversight matters. And honestly, Jim Jordan was right to go in as hard as he did.